Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about comic book companies making terrible decisions about their future projects. Previously we talked about Marvel's follies here. Over the last few weeks, Marvel has made its creator, Stan Lee, roll over in their grave at least 2 or 3 times. First there was the new Warriors announcement, which included new characters based on SJW buzzwords and internet memes. Snowflake and Safe Space were the most egregious examples, but also the new team had a member called Trailblazer too, who was clearly a representative of the body positive movement. Then, just a few days after that, despite getting some of the worst reactions of all time and hundreds of thousands of dislikes on YouTube and Twitter after their new Warriors disaster, well, shortly after that, Marvel started to double down, announcing their new X-Men spin-off series, which basically includes a bunch of lady reboots of fan-favorite X-Men characters like Cyclops and Gambit. And now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds like a big joke. How could these comic book makers read the room so badly? And how can such a successful movie-making company like Marvel totally fall apart and fail and lose it when handling the comic books or their cinematic universe's inspiration? And well, while we don't have any direct answers to most of these questions, one thing is certainly clear though. The comic book industry has been overtaken by woke leftists and rabid social justice warriors. They've been destroying the books for years, and things appear to be peaking and coming to a head at this moment in time, which is really bad timing for comic books to have a sort of super woke meltdown since the industry was already about to go bankrupt previously, and it's also facing tough times like the rest of us considering this ongoing global health crisis. Now, with all that said and all the hullabaloo surrounding these obviously doomed to fail woke Marvel projects, well, with that in mind, you'd think the comic book industry would know better than to continue down this path. Well, then you might be surprised to find out DC Comics decide to say, hey, hold my beer, Marvel, as they are now releasing what seems to be a very similar juvenile woke-inspired series they're calling Gotham High. Now, if you can already guess by the name, this is going to be set at a high school in Batman's very own Gotham City, and this new comic appears to be a sort of teenage version of Batman, like Batman meets Twilight, or Gotham City meets Riverdale, or something like that. I can already see this Gotham High being made into a teeny bopper series on the CW actually, but that of course is not a good thing, and this is not a wanted or proper direction for the beloved Batman series. For more details on the new Gotham High project and its announcement, let's turn to an article from Entertainment Weekly called First Look, Batman Meets Gossip Girl, a new graphic novel, Gotham High. Author Melissa De La Cruz and illustrator Thomas Patilli preview a Batman story like you've never seen. Well, it sounds like old Melissa here is writing a story like we've never seen because no one was stupid or bold enough to make this kind of bad idea before. It's just so off-brand for Batman to be this teenage high schooler with influences coming from the likes of shows like Gossip Girl. Really? No thank you. I prefer my Batman to stay as the dark and brooding Caped Crusader. You know, the defender of Gotham and the world's greatest detective. But instead, DC is giving us Gotham High Batman, or rather, teeny bopper Bruce Wayne Batman. A Nickelodeon Disney Channel cheap and offensive imitation. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves yet though, because believe it or not, but as the details become clear, this Gotham High starts to sound even worse. Let's read on. Even after 80 years of Batman comics, movies, and TV series, you've never seen the Caped Crusader like this. DC Comics' new graphic novel, Gotham High, reimagines a teenage Bruce Wayne, along with young versions of Catwoman, aka Selina Kyle, and the Joker, aka Jack Napier, in a world that feels more on par with Gossip Girl and Crazy Rich Asians than anything that's come before in the canon. They say that as if it's a good thing. After Bruce, a rich Chinese-American loner, gets kicked out of his boarding school, he returns to Gotham City to find his home and former friends nothing like he left them. Former girl next door Selina is now the queen bee of Gotham High, ruling over everyone with a dark side no one knows about, and class clown Jack will do anything to get the last laugh. And when a string of kidnappings seem to target Bruce, he finds himself embroiled in a dangerous love triangle with the very people he suspects are at the center of it. Okay, wow, where do we even start here? I guess the biggest change here, and perhaps the most offensive one, is the part where they make Bruce Wayne half Chinese now. Not only is this a dramatic and strange way to change a long-running American-based character, but also, I think the timing of this is pretty suspect. Now sure, this project was likely in production far before this recent wave of panic hit the globe, but I can't help but notice that DC Comics is making Batman from the same place that started this whole health crisis. Combine that with the fact that the news and mainstream media have already been playing defense defense for that Far East nation. That terribly communist place has been getting defended by news people ever since this issue started, so with all that in mind, I can't help but think this whole making Batman a different race thing is at least somewhat related, since obviously he's our main character and the one we're going to sympathize with, so in turn, this project is low-key making us sympathize with the epidemic-inducing commies. How very woke and left-wing of them, but also not too surprising at this point in history. We did just go over another DC project that actually made Superman a communist. The Superman Red Sun movie came out like a month ago, and it had lots of similarities to this actually, albeit this was done in a movie with a more political and alternative universe kind of plot. Next, let's talk about the other two main characters we've seen so far. First, we have Selina Kyle, or of course, more popularly known as Catwoman. And well, apparently this Gotham High version of Catwoman is going to be blackwashing the character now, judging by this first page and cover art at least. Now, Catwoman's race is not nearly as important, and in fact, she's been blackwashed before too, but this move does start to say something, especially when combined with the rest of what we're seeing here today. Let me explain further. First, they are Asian washing the main character, and then they're blackwashing this amoral, usually heroic sidekick and girlfriend character. So then you would think they might race bend this third character here too, right? Well, that would be wrong, and I think I know why. You see, the third character is named Jack, and he's a class clown, so that makes it pretty obvious he's a younger Gotham High version of Joker. And well, since Joker is a bad guy in the end, he's obviously going to stay white here, because SJWs only want to black or brown wash the good, heroic, or favorite characters. In fact, this is so true, they would even consider whitewashing previously black or brown characters if they happen to be villains. Because in the left's eyes, white people are always bad and minorities can't help but be good. Moving forward, and this article actually got to talk with the writer and illustrator of Gotham High, and you'll never believe what they have to say next. Check this part out. What excited you both about debuting new versions of not only Batman but also the Joker and Catwoman? De La Cruz says, Bruce Wayne is the billionaire, he's the richest man alive. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun if his family was Chinese and from Hong Kong? That made it feel real. There's been a big influx of wealthy Chinese people who moved from Hong Kong to Arcadia in Los Angeles, and that's where my mom lives. I'm part Chinese. My brother lives in Hong Kong, so I thought it would be great to put what I know into Bruce Wayne. I just wanted him to be a little bit more representative of my background and giving him an authentic family. Alfred is not just his butler, but also his uncle, his gay uncle from Hong Kong. It gives it this fabulous crazy rich Asian sheen to it. Yikes. A lot of red flags here already. First, in classic SJW fashion, this writer, Melissa De La Cruz, she made this thing all about her, like a true narcissist. Leftists tend to be very self-centered like this, and that's why they make their woke reboot versions of popular media properties. Well, they always find a way to make the hero like themselves. If the writer was, say, a gay or black person, then the hero is now that too. And if they were born in Minnesota and love Hillary Clinton, then so does the main character now. And now with Gotham High, the writer is part Chinese and has relatives from Hong Kong, so that's been applied to Batman as well too. And although they try to mask this writing tactic as a positive thing, saying they are writing what they know like that's proper, like what this section says, but there is a catch to that doesn't actually hold up under the littlest bit of scrutiny if you think about it. First of all, writing what you know is a good place to start writing, but it's not necessarily where you should end your career or where you should be many years into it, like this De La Cruz lady, who seems to be older and a seasoned writer, at least somewhat, in her circles. And for another example, writing what you know might be better suited for a younger writer, a less experienced one who is trying to write some original story or something new, which is the perfect place to take chances and do what you want and write what you know. But we're not talking about that kind of situation at all here. Here we've got an older writer working on the spin-off of a long-running and much beloved Batman series, one of the greatest superheroes of all time. So when you choose and agree to dive into a project like that, it might actually be better to write something you don't know. And more importantly, it would be the right time to have some reverence and respect for the source material, instead of changing it willy-nilly, virtually shitting all over it, and also disrespecting the fans. Next, let's talk about this new version of Alfred. Alfred Pennyworth is arguably the second most important character in all of Batman after all, so surely you would think this character would get the respect they deserve, but no. We are talking about a series that has already altered 3 other major characters, including Batman himself, so of course they also made Alfred an Asian uncle for some reason, who also happens to be gay too, because why not? They've already ruined and perverted and made this thing as woke as possible, so why not make this second most popular character an alphabet person as well? Really showing their true colors on that one, that's for sure. And of course, it goes without saying that this is not a comment or condemnation against any gay white or alphabet people at all. We of course have nothing against them. The real problem is their so-called allies keep alphabet washing pre-existing characters like Alfred, who not only should be a straight Englishman, but really, Alfred shows very little if any sexuality at all. He's always been this older mentor type character and the voice of reason for Batman. And he's also a classic British butler type who raised Bruce after his parents were killed. So the British background and accent and lack of sexuality, that always fit perfectly for this guy. And now to change him to being Asian and also make him Batman's uncle who's an alphabet person no less? Well, clearly they've gone a bit too far. Finally, we get to see some panels from the actual new comic book, which are being shared as a tease or preview for its upcoming release that's coming on April 1st. This release date, of course, is making many people speculate. Is this in fact an elaborate April Fool's joke? Unfortunately, I don't think it is though, and this BS is really happening to one of our favorite characters. And upon reading through a dozen or so pages they shared in this preview, the comic looks pretty much like how you'd expect. It's got lame, cheap-looking digital art with writing that comes off just as wannabe woke and pro-SJW as you would think. In fact, there are a few more moments in the actual book that reveal there's even more wokeness in here, even more than we thought before. For example, the very first scene of the book features a group of bullies picking on a smaller minority kid with glasses. Someone quickly swoops in to save the kid. This, of course, is revealed to be a high school-age Bruce Wayne, the future Batman. And a few pages later, and it's revealed that kid that Bruce saved is actually named Richard Grayson, or Dick Grayson, the name of the first Robin, Batman's loyal sidekick. So with that said, we've got another main character being black or brown washed. Because of course, when you're dealing with woke writers, good guy characters can never be white, even if the characters have been historically white for many decades. Lastly, I want to mention one more small but noteworthy change to the background of the Batman character for this Gotham High series. We already went over how he's Asian now, but if you read more into this preview, we can also see they give extra details and backstory to Bruce Wayne's mother, Martha, now. Here in this panel, they say Martha Wayne comes from the richest family in Hong Kong, and it was actually her money that started the company Wayne Enterprises, which of course is what makes Bruce Wayne and his family super rich. Now, this may not seem like much of a difference or detail, but previously the focus was always on the dad, Thomas Wayne, who was originally this gifted surgeon and philanthropist who runs the Wayne Corporation and everything. He was a good businessman, so obviously now the SJWs behind Gotham High wanted to change this and focus on Bruce's mother instead. They made her money be the fuel that got their whole company started in the first place. Never mind the fact that her money was probably her family's money from Asia, and she probably didn't earn that either, which is really no different than how Thomas Wayne inherited the company in the original story. But nevertheless, these leftists had to try and be more pro-woman and show their wokeness with this one more additional detail. What do you guys think? Is Batman getting woke with this Gotham High stuff? I think that's pretty undeniable, but maybe there is a market for this with teens or kids or something. But really, I think DC is trying to pander to young fans too much, and it's coming off so out of touch and off-putting, I highly doubt it will pan out well for them in sales. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button to help support this channel, and we'll see y'all next time.